Just look around any major Indian city, and you can feel it, right? A nation that's building its future at this absolutely incredible pace. We're talking metro tunnels being bored deep underground, massive bridges stretching across rivers, and ports expanding to welcome global trade. And behind so many of these huge, complex projects is one engineering powerhouse, ITD Cementation. So today, we're going to break down just how they've become such a critical player in building modern India. So let's just start with one number, because it really tells you a whole lot about the scale we're dealing with here. 18,300 crores. That's the value of all the projects in their order book as of the last fiscal year. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's a pipeline of work that's literally going to be shaping India's landscape for years and years to come. All right, so here's how we're going to walk through their story. First, we'll look at who they are as a nation builder. Then, we'll get into their blueprint for growth. After that, we'll see how it all adds up in the numbers, check out some of the amazing landmarks they've built, and finally, take a peek at how they're engineering the future. So, first things first, who exactly is this company that's behind some of India's most complicated construction projects? Let's dig in. Okay, so at its heart, ITD Cementation is a giant in the engineering and construction world. But the detail you really gotta pay attention to is their history. We're talking over 9 decades. So this isn't some new company just riding a recent wave. Nope, they've been a foundational player in India's development for almost a century. And this, right here, is where their strategy really starts to make sense. It's all about diversification. See, they don't just build one thing, like metros or ports. They have serious expertise across 6 major areas. And that's so important because it protects them. If one sector slows down, no big deal. They can just pivot their focus to wherever the action is, whether that's a new airport or a huge irrigation project. And you might look at this and think, oh, it's just some corporate mission statement, but it's not. This vision gets right to the heart of what matters in this business. Keeping your clients happy, delivering quality, and this is the big one, finishing on time and on budget. In a world of multi-core infrastructure projects, that kind of discipline, well, it's everything. Okay, so how do they actually make that vision happen? Let's take a look at their blueprint for growth. What's their secret sauce? It really boils down to 4 key pillars. We've already touched on their strategic diversification, but the other 3 are just as vital. Jumping on advanced technology, having a relentless focus on getting the job done right, and the kind of super disciplined financial management that builds a rock-solid company. And their use of tech is a total game changer. For instance, imagine you're digging a metro tunnel in a super crowded city with really unstable soil. What do? Well, they pioneered what's called ground freezing in India. They literally freeze the earth to make it solid and safe to dig through. Or when they have to build deep walls through solid rock, they bring in these specialized trench cutters. These aren't just fancy buzzwords, they're cutting-edge solutions to absolutely massive engineering problems. The managing director, Jayanta Basu, just nails it with this quote. It's all about managing risk by not putting all your eggs in one basket. This is what lets them jump on market opportunities and turn them into actual business. So the big question is, does this strategy actually work? Well, let's look at the numbers. All right, so we have seen the blueprint. Now let's see how that plan actually translates into reality. Time for the financial proof. Wow, this chart pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Just look at that revenue growth. In just a couple of years, their revenue has absolutely skyrocketed, more than doubling to over 9,000 crores. That kind of explosive growth just shows you how much demand there is for what they do and how well they're delivering on it. Okay, but big revenue is one thing. Is the company actually profitable? Oh yeah. In fact, their net profit has grown even faster. And that tells us something really important. This isn't just growth for the sake of getting bigger. It's smart, it's sustainable, and it's incredibly efficient. Now, this table gives you a nice snapshot of their financial health, but I want you to focus on just one number here, gross debt to equity, at just 0.51. In the construction industry, which needs huge investments in heavy machinery, you often see really high debt. This super low number is a crystal clear sign of that disciplined financial management we were talking about. They're managing to grow like crazy without taking on a ton of risky debt. That's impressive. All right, now for the really fun part. Let's move away from the spreadsheets and balance sheets and look at the real-world impact of their work. The actual physical icons they are building across the country. This line right here just perfectly captures their impact. Their work isn't just a bunch of random projects. It's the physical fabric, the connective tissue of a modernizing India. Let's look at a few examples. Think about the daily commute for millions and millions of people. Those incredibly complex underground metro lines in Bengaluru, Chennai, and Kolkata? Yep, they're building them. The elevated metro lines you see in Nagpur and Surat? Them too. Or how about the airport terminals that connect cities like Pune and Trichy? That's their work. This is the kind of infrastructure that directly impacts people's lives every single day. But their expertise doesn't just stop at the coastline. These guys are masters of maritime engineering, and these projects are basically the arteries of our trade and energy, from a huge container terminal in Sri Lanka that connects the whole region to the world, to the massive breakwater at Visakhapatnam port that protects India's coast. This is all about securing the nation's economic lifelines. And the sheer variety of their work is it's astonishing. I mean, on one hand, they're building projects that are strategically critical for the nation, like the new Army HQ in Delhi. And on the other, they're creating vital transport links like the Ganga Expressway and that iconic Pamban Railway Bridge. They're even building cultural landmarks like the Aerospace Museum. It's a portfolio that truly shows what a nation's priorities are. So, with such a strong foundation and an incredible track record, where do they possibly go from here? Let's take a look at the road ahead. This number tells you their momentum is actually picking up speed. Just in the last fiscal year alone, they added over 7,100 crores in new projects to their order book. So this isn't just steady growth anymore. We're talking about rapid acceleration. It ensures their pipeline stays absolutely packed for years to come. And this chart, this reveals another secret to their stability, a really well-balanced client list. I mean, sure, government projects make up the majority, and that makes sense given India's focus on infrastructure. But having a solid 40% from the private sector, that's huge. It means that if government spending priorities ever change, they still have a strong pipeline of work, which protects them from a lot of volatility. And this final quote really drives home their philosophy for the future. They're absolutely committed to growing, but they're going to do it smartly. By focusing on financial prudence, they're basically telling everyone that their goal is long-term sustainable value, not just short-term growth at any cost. And so, you see, the story of ITD Cementation is, in so many ways, the story of modern India itself. As the nation's ambitions for world-class infrastructure just keep getting bigger and bigger, the question isn't if builders like them will rise to the challenge. The only real question is, what incredible new heights will they reach next?